In further developments, the deadly floods in KwaZulu-Natal have also impacted on business activity. The Durban Chamber of Commerce has expressed its concern that this marks a series of adverse weather conditions in the province, which has been hit by frequent and escalating natural disasters since 2022. The Chamber's President, Prasheen Maharaj, speaks to us now. Thank you so much for your time, Prasheen. Yet another devastating event. How has the Chamber reacted? And in terms of assessment, what is the general outlook of the impact so far?
Good afternoon, Tumisang. Good afternoon to the listeners. For us, we are very concerned. I think the stark reality has hit home that Durban is now a vulnerable area and is prone to natural disasters like many places in the world. So for us, going forward, we need to develop a plan to an early warning systems to avoid the catastrophes and the loss of lives that we see now. From an assessment point of view, we are still talking to our members, we're still talking to the business community to see what the actual extent of the disruptions have been. But from the 2022 experience, we know that major arterial roads and supply chains have been disrupted. We know that informal traders, because of flooding on the streets, aren't able to trade, and those are the most vulnerable in our society. And more importantly, we have seen more than 300 residents in Durban being displaced from their homes because of the flooding.
It's likely that the SME sector will be the hardest hit, as they are really the lifeline of product supply within communities that are mostly affected. Talk us through how the plan that you speak of is going to encompass strengthening those elements.
For me, I think we must never waste a good crisis. So in the State of the Nation address, the president spoke about ring fencing municipal utilities, water, electricity, sanitation, etc. So for me, once those utilities are ring fenced, it will allow for capital budgets for expansion of existing infrastructure related to drainage, water, sanitation, and also for the upgrade of electrical infrastructure, which still remains damaged from the 2022 floods. So for me, those are the critical things, because infrastructure is a government problem. The second thing we need to also have in society, when you talk to the municipalities, they call for behavioral change amongst the citizens of the city, because they said no matter how much they fix the drainage system, debris like waste plastic and so forth get into the sewage systems, into the drainage systems, and causes the flooding that you see. Secondly, we need to do a root cause analysis of where the water emanates from. For the 2022 floods, we know it was the Shongweni Dam that burst its wall. So for me, I think all of these needs to be put into a plan. All stakeholders, including business, civil society, and government, need to sit together and see what we can each bring to the table. Because I think right now, we can't put the blame on anyone, because it's a natural disaster, but it is the collective responsibility of all the stakeholders who live in the beautiful city of eThekwini. We have shown resilience in the past, we have shown grit in the past, and we are now engaging with the big corporates in Durban to put their muscle behind this initiative, because I think private sector muscle and intellectual capital is needed to solve this problem.
Lastly, on that note, I wanted to ask about how exactly the rebuild is going to take place. You've just touched on that matter, that it will be a collaborative effort, but the domino effect of these natural disasters must surely make the rebuild effort even tougher this time around.
So, very interesting question, Tumisang. When the 2022 floods happened, we as the private sector in Durban, we said, you know what, we are directly affected by the loss of electricity, by the breakdown of our supply chains due to roads being inaccessible, etc. So we undertook to partner with government through a private sector participation process. And we made this proposal in 2022. It's 3 years down the line. They had indicated that they needed to change the P laws. Now, the president did announce in the recent SONA that there'd been amendments to the P to allow for private sector participation, but it has not happened fast enough. So what we need to do is we need to urge government to expedite the rules that allow for private sector investment capital to be put into the infrastructure, so that will not only benefit business, but also benefit the most vulnerable in society. And for us, that is where I think we as business can make the biggest impact, is to put capital into the infrastructure system.
Thank you so much for your time and all the best. That is the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry President Prasheen Maharaj speaking to us about the extent at which the flooding in KwaZulu-Natal is affecting business.